Many old people avoid traveling long distances, not because they have lost interest in the world, not because they do not like new places. There is something much deeper happening inside their mind and body. As people grow older, energy becomes limited, not suddenly, but slowly, step by step. Things that once felt easy now take more effort. Walking longer, sitting for hours, adjusting to new environments. All of this starts to feel heavier. So when they think about long travel, they are not just thinking about the destination, they are thinking about the effort it requires. And that effort feels tiring even before the journey begins. There is also something about physical comfort. The body becomes more sensitive. Long sitting can cause pain. Unfamiliar beds can disturb sleep. Changes in food can affect digestion. Even small discomforts feel bigger. So the idea of traveling far starts to feel less appealing, not because they do not want to go, but because they know the body may not cooperate easily. There is also something about routine. Old people often build a stable daily routine, a certain time to wake up, a certain way to eat, a certain place to rest. This routine gives structure, and structure gives comfort. Long travel breaks this structure. Everything changes: timing, food, sleep, environment. And this sudden change creates discomfort, so they prefer to stay within what feels familiar. There is also a deeper emotional reason. Home becomes more than just a place. It becomes a safe zone, a space where everything is known, where they feel in control, where they feel secure. Leaving that space, especially for long periods, can create a quiet unease. Even if they do not say it, they feel it, a sense of being out of place, a sense of not having full control, so they avoid situations that create that feeling. There is also something about unpredictability. Long travel always carries uncertainty. Delays, crowds, changes in plans, unexpected situations. For a younger mind, this can feel exciting, but for an older mind, it feels stressful, because handling unexpected situations requires energy, quick thinking, adjustment, and these things become harder with age, so they choose predictability over uncertainty. There is also a quiet fear of health issues. What if something happens during the trip? What if I need help? What if I cannot manage? These thoughts may not be spoken, but they are there, and they influence decisions. Staying close to home feels safer, because help is nearby. Familiar doctors, known places, support systems. This sense of safety matters more than the excitement of travel. There is also something about mental fatigue. Travel is not just physical. It requires planning, packing, remembering details, managing tickets, following schedules. All of this requires focus. And long periods of focus can feel exhausting, so the mind chooses to avoid that load. There is also a shift in what feels enjoyable. In younger years, travel feels like adventure, new places, new experiences, movement. But in older age, enjoyment becomes calmer, peaceful surroundings, familiar comfort, simple pleasures. So long travel, which often brings noise and change, feels less aligned with what they now enjoy. There is also something about time perception. Long journeys feel longer, more tiring, more stretched, because the body feels every hour more clearly. So even the idea of sitting for long hours can feel uncomfortable, and that reduces the desire to travel far. There is also a quiet preference for control. At home, they know everything, where things are, how things work, what to expect. But during travel, control reduces. They depend on others, on systems, on unfamiliar places, and this loss of control feels uncomfortable, so they avoid it. There is also something about emotional energy. Travel requires interaction with people, with new environments, with unfamiliar situations. This interaction takes energy, and in old age, emotional energy becomes limited, so they use it carefully. They do not want to spend it on situations that may feel draining. There is also a deeper understanding of enough. They may feel they have already seen enough, already experienced enough. They are not chasing more. They are satisfied with what they know. So the urge to explore reduces naturally, not because they cannot, but because they do not feel the need. There is also something about recovery. After a long trip, the body needs time to recover. sometimes a lot of time, days of rest, discomfort, fatigue. So when they think about travel, they also think about what comes after, and that reduces motivation. There is also a quiet awareness of vulnerability. They know they are not as strong as before, not as quick, not as adaptable. So they avoid situations where that vulnerability may become visible or difficult to manage. There is also something about safety in familiarity. Familiar roads, familiar faces, familiar systems. These things reduce stress. They create ease. So staying within that circle feels more comfortable than stepping outside it. There is also a subtle emotional shift. They move from seeking excitement to seeking peace. Travel often brings stimulation, but they now prefer calm, stillness, quiet environments. So long-distance travel does not match that need anymore. And maybe the most important reason is this: they are not avoiding travel. They are choosing comfort, choosing safety, choosing peace, in a stage of life where these things matter more than exploration. So when you see an old person saying no to a long trip, it is not because they have stopped living. It is because they are living differently now, with more awareness, more care, more understanding of what their mind and body truly need. And in that choice, there is wisdom, not limitation. And when you look a little deeper, you begin to notice that this choice is not sudden. It develops slowly, over time, one small decision at a time. Maybe they skip one long trip, then another. Then they start choosing only nearby places. Until one day, long-distance travel no longer feels necessary, not forced, just natural. There is also something about how they begin to measure effort differently. In younger years, effort feels temporary. You travel, feel tired, then recover quickly. But in old age, effort feels heavier, and recovery takes longer. So the mind starts calculating differently. Is this worth the energy it will take? And often the answer becomes no. Not because the place is not interesting, but because the cost, in energy, feels too high. There is also a quiet respect for their own limits. They understand their body better now. They know what feels comfortable and what pushes them too far. So instead of testing those limits, they stay within them, not out of fear, but out of understanding. There is also something about emotional stability. Travel can be unpredictable, different environments, different people, different routines. And this unpredictability can disturb inner calm. Even small disruptions can feel larger, so they avoid situations that may shake that balance. There is also a deeper appreciation for familiar comfort, their own bed, their own space, their own surroundings. These things are not small anymore. They are important, very important, because they provide rest without effort, peace without adjustment. So leaving them behind, even for a few days, can feel uncomfortable. There is also something about how they experience distance. Distance is not just physical, it is emotional too. Being far from home can create a subtle feeling of disconnection from their routine, from their environment, from their sense of control. And that feeling can be unsettling, even if everything is going well. So they prefer to stay closer, where that connection remains intact. There is also a quiet fear of inconvenience, needing help, asking for support, managing unexpected situations. These things can feel uncomfortable. They do not want to be in a position where they cannot manage on their own, so they avoid situations where that might happen. There is also something about how they begin to value simplicity, simple plans, short visits, nearby places. These feel manageable. They do not require much preparation. They do not create stress, so they choose simplicity over complexity. There is also a shift in motivation. Travel in younger years is often driven by curiosity, the desire to see more, do more, experience more. But in older age, curiosity becomes quieter. It does not disappear, but it softens, and peace becomes stronger than curiosity. So the need to travel far reduces naturally. There is also something about the emotional weight of preparation, packing, planning, organizing, remembering everything. These tasks can feel overwhelming, even before the journey starts. So avoiding long travel also means avoiding that mental load. There is also a quiet preference for meaningful presence over distant movement. They may prefer sitting with family, spending time in a known place, enjoying a calm day, rather than moving from one place to another, because connection now feels more valuable than exploration. There is also something about how they see time differently. They do not feel the need to fit everything in. They are not rushing to experience more. They are slowing down, and in that slowing down, long travel feels less aligned. There is also a subtle emotional comfort in predictability, knowing how the day will go, what will happen next, what to expect. Travel removes that predictability, so staying close keeps things stable. There is also something about energy conservation. They choose where to spend their energy very carefully, and long-distance travel requires a large amount of it, so they save that energy for things that feel more important: daily comfort, health, small meaningful interactions. There is also a deeper acceptance. They accept that they may not travel as much as before. And instead of feeling deprived, many of them feel at peace with it, because they are not comparing, they are not chasing, they are simply living according to what feels right now. There is also something about quiet contentment. They find enough in what they already have, enough in familiar surroundings, enough in simple routines. So the need to seek more reduces, and that reduction feels natural, not forced. And maybe the most important thing to understand is this: they are not avoiding life. They are choosing a version of life that feels manageable, comfortable, peaceful. They are not running away from travel. They are moving toward stability, toward calm, toward a life that does not demand more than they can give. And when you see it this way, their no to long travel is not a loss. It is a choice, a thoughtful, quiet choice, to protect their energy, their comfort, and their peace. And when this choice becomes part of their lifestyle, something else begins to happen. They stop feeling like they are missing out. This is important, because from the outside, it may look like they are giving things up, but inside, many of them do not feel that loss anymore. They feel settled, at ease, because their expectations have changed. There is also something about how they redefine experience. For younger people, experience often means going somewhere new, seeing something different. But for old people, experience becomes more internal. A calm morning, a quiet conversation, a familiar place that feels safe. These moments start to feel enough, so the need to travel far to feel something meaningful fades. There is also a quiet confidence in staying close. They know their environment, they know how to manage things, they feel capable, and that feeling matters more than exploring something unfamiliar, because unfamiliar places can bring uncertainty, but familiar places bring control. There is also something about emotional comfort zones. Over time, people build spaces where they feel emotionally secure: home, nearby areas, known surroundings. Long-distance travel takes them out of that zone, and stepping out of it requires effort, not just physical, but emotional, so they choose to remain where they feel grounded. There is also a subtle shift in how they view movement. Constant movement starts to feel tiring, not exciting. They prefer stillness, staying in one place, letting life come to them instead of going after it. And this stillness brings a kind of peace that movement cannot. There is also something about how they manage expectations. Travel often comes with plans, schedules, timelines, places to visit, things to do. And these expectations can feel like pressure, so they avoid it, because they do not want their time to feel structured in a demanding way. They prefer open, flexible days. There is also a quiet appreciation for nearby joys: a short walk, a local visit, a familiar park. These small experiences feel manageable, enjoyable, and enough. So instead of long journeys, they choose short ones that do not disturb their balance. There is also something about how they begin to protect their comfort actively, not just passively. They make decisions that support it. They say no when something feels too much. They avoid situations that may create stress. And long travel often falls into that category, so they step away from it. There is also a deeper emotional maturity in this behavior. They are not trying to prove anything, not trying to keep up with others. not trying to meet expectations. They are listening to themselves, and that listening guides their choices, even if others do not understand. There is also something about how they begin to value rest more. Rest is no longer just a break. It becomes a priority, something to protect, something to maintain. Long travel disrupts rest, so they avoid it, to keep their body and mind balanced. There is also a quiet acceptance of pace. They accept that their pace is slower now, and instead of forcing themselves to match a faster world, they adjust the world around them. They choose activities that fit their pace, and long-distance travel often does not fit. There is also something about emotional peace being more important than excitement. Excitement can be short, but peace lasts longer. So they choose what gives lasting comfort. Even if it looks less exciting from the outside, there is also a subtle awareness of risk. Travel involves risk, even small ones, and in old age, even small risks feel larger. So they minimize exposure, not out of fear, but out of care. There is also something about how they conserve their strength for what matters most: health, family, daily comfort. They do not want to spend that strength on something that may drain them, so they save it. Use it wisely. There is also a quiet satisfaction in saying, "This is enough for me," not in a limiting way, but in a peaceful way, a way that says, "I do not need more to feel complete." And that feeling removes the pressure to travel far. There is also something about being present where they are. Instead of moving constantly, they stay, and they notice more, feel more, appreciate more, because they are not rushing from one place to another. And maybe this is the deepest truth. They are not losing the desire to live. They are changing how they live, from movement to stillness, from exploration to appreciation, from chasing to accepting. And in that change, there is a quiet wisdom, a way of living that is softer, slower, but deeply peaceful. So when you see an old person avoiding long-distance travel, you are not seeing limitation. You are seeing a life that has learned what truly feels right and is no longer willing to trade that peace for anything that disturbs it. And when you sit with this understanding a little longer, something becomes very clear. They are not saying no to travel. They are saying yes to themselves, yes to their comfort, yes to their limits, yes to a life that feels gentle instead of demanding. There is also something about how they begin to trust their own rhythm. They no longer follow what others think is normal. They follow what feels right inside. If their body says, "This is too much," they listen. If their mind says, "Stay where it feels calm," they respect it. This self-trust becomes stronger with age, and it shapes every decision, including travel. There is also a quiet release from pressure to see the world, pressure to experience everything, pressure to keep moving. They slowly let go of that, because they realize something important. Life is not about how much you cover. It is about how you feel where you are. There is also something about how they begin to protect their energy like something valuable, because it is. They know they cannot spend it freely anymore, so they choose carefully where to go, what to do, who to meet. And long-distance travel often asks for more energy than they are willing to give. There is also a subtle emotional comfort in staying connected to familiar surroundings. The same streets, the same people, the same environment. These things create a sense of belonging. And belonging feels stronger than the excitement of unfamiliar places. There is also something about how they redefine freedom. Freedom is no longer about going anywhere, doing anything. It becomes about not being forced, not being uncomfortable, not being overwhelmed. So choosing not to travel far becomes a form of freedom, a way of living without pressure. There is also a quiet understanding that peace is fragile. It can be disturbed easily, by noise, by stress, by too much change, so they protect it, gently, by making choices that keep life stable and avoiding those that may shake it. There is also something about how they start valuing presence over movement. Being fully present in one place feels better than being physically present in many places without peace. So they stay, and in staying, they feel more, understand more, appreciate more. There is also a deeper emotional honesty. They do not pretend to enjoy what they no longer enjoy. They do not force themselves into situations just to appear active. They accept their truth and live according to it. There is also something about how they begin to see that not every opportunity needs to be taken. Some can be let go, without regret, without fear, because not taking something can also be a wise choice. There is also a quiet satisfaction in a slower life, a life that is not constantly changing, not constantly moving, but steady, predictable, peaceful. And long-distance travel does not always fit into that rhythm. There is also something about emotional balance. Too much stimulation can disturb it. Too much change can tire it. So they maintain balance by limiting what they take on. And travel becomes one of those things they reduce. There is also a subtle shift from outer world to inner world. They spend more time with their thoughts, their memories, their reflections, and this inner world becomes rich, enough, so the need to go outward reduces. There is also something about how they choose quality over quantity. A short, peaceful outing feels better than a long, exhausting journey. A calm visit feels better than a rushed trip, so they choose accordingly. There is also a quiet awareness of how they want to feel at the end of the day. Not tired, not overwhelmed, but calm, rested, at ease. And this desired feeling guides their decisions. There is also something very simple, yet very powerful. They listen to their body, and their body speaks honestly. It does not care about expectations. It does not follow social pressure. It simply says what it can handle, and they respect that. There is also a quiet form of self-care in this behavior. Avoiding long travel is not avoidance of life. It is care for themselves, a way of saying, I will not push myself beyond what feels right. And maybe the most meaningful thing to understand is this. They are not shrinking their life. They are refining it, removing what feels heavy, keeping what feels light, letting go of what demands too much, holding on to what gives peace. And in that refinement, their life becomes simpler, but also deeper. So when you see an old person choosing not to travel far, you are seeing a decision that comes from experience, from awareness, from a deep understanding of their own needs. And in that quiet decision, there is strength, there is clarity, and there is a gentle wisdom that chooses peace over pressure every single time.